Hi, I'm Hayley. I'm the Chief Doodler at Thoughts Drawn Out, a creative consultancy powered by the art and science of illustrated storytelling and human-centered design. I'm obsessed with generating greater humanness in how organizations and individuals discover their stories, connect meaningfully with others, and make sense of the world around them. That's why I'm sharing my story here with you in all its perfectly imperfect glory. I am human after all, and just like you, I am juggling all the things: business, health, creativity. I'm basically trying to show up each day and be the best version of myself that I can be, in business and in life. And I'm going to bring you along for the ride and hopefully inspire you to do the same. It's time to get amongst it, get creativity working, and make your mark. Welcome to my Diary of a Chief Doodler. Hey everybody. Today I would really like to talk to you about this concept that's been on my mind. Just a little phrase that we use all the time, but it's meant so much to me in the last kind of week or two. And that is on the front foot. Something we've all heard, we've all used, and often aspire to. And I've been really focused on what does that actually look like and feel like for me. So as many of you would know, in my work as Chief Doodler for Thoughts Drawn Out, visualizing complex concepts is kind of the heart of what I do. I take the spaghetti inside people's brains, complex stuff that's hard to explain, and I kind of tease it out and I make it visual and I help us as humans to understand it. And I do that for myself in my journal, which is a close to daily practice. So I say close to daily because I don't force myself to journal on a daily basis because I don't want the routine to control it. It's about being clear on the purpose. So I journal for a purpose, and when I need it, I do it. And if I don't need it, I don't do it. Otherwise, I feel like the routine is controlling me instead of the other way around. So as I need to step into that toolbox, my trusty journal is my go-to for how I understand myself and I make sense of the world around me and how I untangle my own brain spaghetti. And on the front foot is something that's kind of woven through the last 2 weeks of journaling. It's been what I've been trying to look at what does that look like for me. So anybody who is juggling multiple aspects of life knows what I'm talking about when there's competing priorities. There's so many people and things and places and priorities that need your time and attention at any given moment, and you can't possibly do it all. So you are juggling constantly. I feel like if I could see you, you would all be nodding right now. But for me, there's a sustainable juggle, and then there's this juggle that I get into sometimes where the weight of it all is too heavy, and I feel it. I really feel it on my shoulders, and I get that sense of it wouldn't matter how much I did right now, I would still feel this way. A little bit, I guess I start to feel a little bit of that kind of learned helplessness, like, oh, it's no good. The burden never ends. There's always so much. And I'm trying to get better at pausing and recognizing when that thought pattern is starting to creep in, because I can see it when I reflect back and I read a week or two's worth of journal entries. I start to see some of the language that I'm using, some of the things that I'm frustrated with or that I'm writing about. And I go, ooh, okay, I'm not winning right now. It's winning. So how do I get back on the front foot? And it's funny that the the idea for this came through a pattern that I've done for forever, which is this kind of, when I've got a major deadline, I've got something really important and it's due, but maybe I'm still kind of puzzling a piece of it together in my mind. So I'm not ready to jump into full flow. I'm still kind of cranking on it. That is the time when my house will be the cleanest that it's ever going to be. The procrasti-cleaning. I'm an absolute legend at that. I've been doing it since uni. When I had an assignment due, that is when I would be scrubbing bathrooms. I would literally scrub floors with hand brushes. Like, I will jump full into a good procrasti-cleaning session. But the funny thing is that when you do that, you almost step into the flow state that comes next with a little bit of empowerment, because you do have control over something, and the environment that you're stepping into that flow state in is more conducive to feeling good about yourself. So as much as I've always considered it a procrastination technique, it made me wonder, if I did that with a little bit of kind of intention and set some guardrails for it, what is the actual genius that sits in there? And I think that is how I get on the front foot, is I go, okay, which things on this to-do list right now would feel so much better if I just tackled the first step? Or what's the breaking point for each one that I could chip away at? What's the thing I could do right now that it may not be that big goal, but what's another thing that I could do right now to alleviate the pressure, to allow me the brain space to focus on that big goal? And this has come up for me in the last couple of weeks. I had some juggling. There was, juggling family stuff, juggling work stuff, and I ended up with a much tighter amount of time than I would have liked to achieve a particular work outcome. And I could see it happening because I'd overbooked my calendar as well. So I was looking down the barrel of this deadline that was coming. I had to present a thing at a particular day and time. And the working hours that I needed to get there were kind of like, I did not plan this time as well as I should have. So rather than, as may have been something I might have done in the past, then just kind of jammed everything aside. I'm focused here. I'm not even showering until this is done. I'm going to get up at 5 and ignore everybody and just smash through this and be a complete horrible mess at the end of it. Maybe a pattern I've fallen into before. What I did instead was go, okay, what can I do now, the night before, to make tomorrow morning slightly better? So is it about just tidying the living area of the house, making sure there's no dirty dishes in the sink, pre-setting a couple of things for school run in the morning, so that when I get up, I feel like I'm on the front foot. I feel like I've already made a little bit of a dent in the morning. And then as that part of the morning comes to an end, what one or two little things can I do now, so that when I get to the end of the workday and I'm feeling tired, but I still have dinner and all that other stuff to do, what could I do now that might make that end of the day slightly easier? Is there some food prep I could do now? Is there just some other task that maybe could be done now to alleviate the pain of later? And it's not about procrastinating away all of the work time. I'm time boxing this stuff. It's like, what kind of 10 to 15 minute task could I do now to save the pain later? And then the rest of the morning is productive, focused time. So I've been attempting this over the last couple of weeks, and wow, does it make a difference? I honestly am surprised by what setting some rules around procrasti-cleaning, how powerful that can be, and how much more productive I feel. I don't feel like everything has control and I'm like victim to it. I feel like I'm in control, even though my to-do list is huge. My workload is enormous, but I feel like I can get through it. I can do it. So that's one of my little things that I've seen emerging through my journal. And what I've started to do is try to be a bit more planned in that as well. So I've been journaling around what's worked. So doing some reflection on what have I been doing. So I'm calling it literally my on the front foot reflections. What have I done that helped me be on the front foot? What did I try that didn't work? Or that was maybe overkill, or, I spent time doing that thing, but honestly, it didn't make later any easier. So a bit of that reflection, planning ahead as to when are some next blocks of time when I'm going to feel that crunch. How do I lock in some stuff now to make that easier? What am I doing now to be on the front foot, even this week for next week, rather than just this morning for this afternoon? So getting into some more rhythm and cycle of being on the front foot. Now, I know some of you people who are highly organized, very structured, routine-driven people, you're probably listening to me now going, duh, it's just not me. I'm chaos queen. I like my to-do lists are on random index cards and on the back of envelopes, and it's like I draw a picture on the shopping list instead of writing the word. Sometimes it just happens. Like creative chaos is generally how my life occurs, but I'm keeping structure in my calendar in terms of how I block my time, and I'm being more intentional in how I be on the front foot with just that kind of pre-step ahead. How do I feel better about this? How do I get that one step ahead on that particular task or busy day? And I have to say, yeah, it's been a great week or two since I've been playing around in this experiment. So in terms of if you want to try this in your own journal, because that's what all of this is about, right? I share with you what's happening for me. What do I have on my plate? What am I thinking about? What am I working through? And then how is that reflected in my journal? How is my journal helping me achieve that? So that's what I want to talk you through now is how do you journal to create the same thing? So first things first, start with an assessment. When is it that you currently do feel on the front foot? Think about that, because there might be some areas in life when you're nailing this. You're really good. You might have a couple of parts of your day where you are like always on the front foot. Capture those. That's really good to start with a strength, and to then look critically at those things and say, what is it about those that I could maybe learn from and pick up and apply elsewhere? So then once you've got that, and this could be a list, this could just be, you can free form write, you could draw pictures, however you want to capture this info down. Just how are you nailing, or where in your life are you nailing being on the front foot? Now we've got to look at the other side of that, right? There's always the light and dark to every situation. Where are you on the back foot? Where are you feeling like you are not in control? Where is it that you're feeling like victim of terrible circumstance? Where is life winning instead of you? And come up with a list of those places, because these are where you're going to want to try and focus some effort. So right now, this could be 2 columns. a front foot column and a back foot column. This could be a top half and a bottom half of the page, because you might want to do this mind map style, where you put the title in the middle with a circle, and then you can literally line out around and come up with some ideas. Whatever works for you in terms of format on your page, it's not critical at this stage. But you want to know where you're on the front foot. You want to know where you're on the back foot. So then we're going to step back again. You've taken that critical eye where you're on the front foot. What is it that makes you on the front foot there? What's working in that space? And I want you to come up with a list of 3 to 5 things you can try to apply front foot thinking to places where you're currently on the back foot. Identify 3 to 5 places where you could try something different. Is it something in your nighttime routine that helps with a morning task? Is it something in how you set up your calendar for the week and how you schedule your time? Do you need to time block something in there? Just identify 3 to 5 places and things that you could have a go at here. Now, attempting 3 to 5 at once, we know that that's not going to work. That is not a sustainable practice. You're going to come up with a list of 3 to 5, because then you're going to spend a little bit of time going, if I'm only doing one, which one of this list do I want to try first? Which one could have the biggest impact? Which one do I feel I have the best chance of sticking to? Which one feels achievable? Whatever metric you want to use to judge, to pick your one, you will know that. You just trust your intuition on this one. But you're going to identify one thing. And then that's what you're going to focus your pages on in your journal. Now that you've gone through that exercise, now in your daily reflections around how things are going and how you're setting up, reflect on that one thing and how it's going each day. Where have you successfully completed it? Where haven't you? What's worked? What hasn't? How are you making it stick? Just reflect on the practice. And you want to do this for a good week, 2 weeks, depending on how frequently this task occurs, to give yourself time to experiment with this and to have a bit of trial and error and to learn some stuff, to tweak it. You never nail these things first go. So one of these things for me that in hindsight I did ages ago, but now we're looking at it through this lens of on the front foot or on the back foot. One of the things that I have always done since I started running, I guess not seriously, more consistently, since I started setting myself goals for running, which is probably 18 months to 2 years ago, I have particular days that are my running days, and I only shift from that when I absolutely have to. And on the night before those running days, I get my running clothes out and I have them ready to go. I also set my alarm so that then when it wakes me up early and in the dark at this time of year, that's one thing, what's one hurdle I don't have to try and overcome when I'm half asleep. The clothes are there, just put them on. I don't have to think about what it is or find anything in the dark. It's there, it's ready to go. So that's one example. Another for me is, as I said, I'm not great at how I plan my to-do list, but I love index cards because I love the flexibility of them. I have a stack of them off to the side of my desk because it's small. You can't cram too much onto an index card. They're quite portable. If I want to stick it in my journal or in another notebook, take it with me. So I do use index cards a lot. So one of the things I do though is that as tasks come up and I start to fill up the front of an index card and it starts to look that busy, I know I've got to cross some things off. Clearly, there's too many on there. So I look for kind of low-hanging fruit so I can get rid of some. And then I'll rewrite this list that's now shorter onto a fresh Post-it. And just having a bit of white space there does wonders for my brain. There might be the same 5 things that I've transferred from this card to this card, but once you eliminate the noise of the 7 other things that are crossed out, there's white space. And my brain likes that there's a bit of white space because that's space for creativity and input and possibility. So I know that is something I will do, and I will try and do that by the end of a day so that when I come in the next morning to my office and I look at my index card that has my to-do list on it, I can wrap my arms around it. And it may have taken me 3 minutes the afternoon before, but starting with the fresh Post-it, fresh index, the next morning makes all the difference to how well I feel in control of my to-do list. So those are just 2 little practices from 2 different parts of my life that I use now to be on the front foot. Small thing I can do now to feel more prepared later. And, the funny thing is I've been playing around with this and enjoying it and learning a lot and feeling good about it. And then I started listening to a book on Audible on my long run over the weekend. It was actually a YouTuber that suggested it. So I went and found it, downloaded it, and it's called The Lazy Genius Way by Kendra Adachi. I have it written down in my journal. And she talks about this exact thing. She doesn't use the same words that I use, but I'm listening to her book going, yes, this thing works. I love this. And so she has different ways that she breaks down. It's not about being completely lazy and pretending you don't care about something and pretending you don't care if you're organized or your house is clean when really you do. It's also not about trying to be the ultimate genius, nailing everything. Everything's organized, structured, planned, done in advance, because that's not sustainable. It's about bringing the best of those 2 ways of thinking together and finding that middle place, the lazy genius place where things can work. And I'm loving it. It's potentially a book I would never have found had someone not recommended it in a video. But liking her approach to it. So it's just, if this is something that intrigues you, maybe that's a book you can go and take a deeper dive into. So The Lazy Genius Way by Kendra Adachi. One of the things she talks about at the start is fixed decisions. So places where, and again, these are my words, not hers, but places in your life where you would burn cognitive load making the decision about something. Should I, shouldn't I? Or should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? Just pre-make the decision once in advance. Fixed decision. Don't have to think about it again, ever again. It's just, the answer is this. And I realized that was what I did for myself when I quit alcohol. Because I used to be like, will I have a beer? Won't I have a beer? I'll just have 1 beer. Will I have 2? Should I drive on the weekend? And the amount of wasted cognitive load on this topic for something that's not even good for me anyway was ridiculous. So once that kind of decision was made and I took it off the table, and the answer is never going to be yes, the answer is always no. I don't ever have to think about it. The space, the cognitive space that I can apply elsewhere, because I made one fixed decision once, and then that's just freed everything up. So just another little kind of concept to leave you with there from that book. Now, I hope you found this useful, this helpful. This is the idea with these sessions, is that I talk to you about what I have going on. I talk to you about what I might be struggling with, thinking through. And I talk about how I've used my journal and then potentially how you can use your journal to work through something similar. So if you like this approach, And if this is helpful to you, please let me know. I would love to hear in your comments below what you find useful about it, or if there's a particular topic to do with journaling that you'd like me to cover. Please let me know that too. I would love to talk about things that are relevant to you and that you find useful. Now, as always, if you give the video a like, that really helps the algorithms know to show my content to people. And if you are not already subscribed to our channel, please do so. Again, it helps YouTube know that people are interested in my stuff. We'll show it to more people, and it means that you can kind of hit that bell and be notified whenever I put new content out. So thank you all for spending some time with me and my journal today. I will talk to you soon.